Welcome back to the channel Coins Collector everyone. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating topics in the world of rare American coins. We are talking about the 1978 Liberty Quarter Dollar. Now when most people think of quarters from the late 70s, they imagine ordinary pocket change. Something that has been spent thousands of times at grocery stores, gas stations, arcades, and vending machines. But what many collectors do not realize is that some of these quarters are worth staggering amounts of money. I am talking about a current market value that has been reported at over $451,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single coin that you might pass by on the street or spend without a second thought could, in the right condition and under the right circumstances, be worth almost $500,000. Before we get into why this particular coin is so valuable, let us set the stage with a little bit of history. The United States Mint has been producing quarters since the late 18th century. The Washington quarter design, which replaced the standing Liberty design in 1932, became one of the most familiar coins in circulation. By 1978, the Washington quarter had already been in production for over 40 years. The obverse side features the bust of George Washington, the nation's first president, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. The reverse shows the majestic American eagle with wings spread proudly, clutching arrows, and an olive branch symbolizing both strength and peace. These elements made the coin instantly recognizable to every American. Now let us focus specifically on the 1978 issue. At first glance, the coin does not look unusual. It was minted in both Philadelphia and Denver in large numbers. Over 500 million quarters were struck that year. Because of this, many people assume they are common and carry no special value beyond 25 cents. And for the average circulated example, that is true. However, what makes numismatics so exciting is that rarity and condition can transform an ordinary coin into a treasure. There are a handful of 1978 quarters that have achieved legendary status among collectors due to their pristine condition, their unusual minting errors, or their remarkable survival against all odds. Let us talk about condition first. When coin collectors discuss condition, they use a grading scale that ranges from poor to perfect mint state. Coins that were never used in circulation and have retained their original luster can be designated as mint state coins. Within that category, the highest possible grade is MS-70, which indicates a flawless strike, sharp details, and no visible marks even under magnification. Very few coins ever achieve this perfection because most are bagged, transported, and handled in ways that leave tiny nicks or scratches. A 1978 quarter graded at this upper end of the scale is extremely rare. Collectors and investors are willing to pay premium prices for such an example, but condition alone does not always explain the jaw-dropping value. Certain coins from 1978 were struck with errors or variations that make them unique. Error coins can include double strikes, off-center strikes, planchet mistakes, or die breaks. Each type of error tells a story about the minting process and adds character to the coin. Some of these errors are one of a kind, making them incredibly desirable to advanced collectors who want something nobody else can own. Imagine holding a coin that shows a doubled image of Washington's face or one where the eagle on the reverse is slightly off-center. Such anomalies turn a regular quarter into a collectible masterpiece. Now combine rarity of error with immaculate condition and you begin to see why a coin might reach astronomical prices at auction. One particular 1978 quarter with flawless features and exceptional preservation stunned the numismatic community when it crossed the auction block with a hammer price reported at $451,000. That sale set a new benchmark and caused many people to take a second look at the pocket change they had long ignored. Suddenly, the idea of finding a fortune in your spare change jar did not seem so far-fetched. The story of the 1978 Liberty Quarter Dollar is also about timing and market demand. The coin collecting hobby has grown tremendously in recent decades. As more people search for tangible assets and historical treasures, the demand for rare coins has exploded. Wealthy collectors and investors are willing to pay record amounts for coins that represent scarcity, artistry, and historical importance. The 1978 quarter fits perfectly into this narrative. It is modern enough to be relatable to living generations but old enough to have survived in limited pristine quantities. This combination makes it a prime candidate for skyrocketing value. Let us consider the broader cultural backdrop of 1978. The United States was celebrating its bicentennial just 2 years earlier in 1976 with special commemorative designs on quarters, half dollars, and dollars. By 1978 the mint had returned to the standard Washington design. Many people overlooked the coins from this year because they lacked the flashy bicentennial motifs. Ironically, this oversight may have allowed some high-quality specimens to be preserved unnoticed for years. Only when professional grading services began evaluating these coins decades later did their true significance emerge. Another point to remember is the role of third-party grading companies. Organizations like PCGS and NGC have established credibility in the marketplace by certifying and encapsulating coins. When a 1978 quarter is officially graded and authenticated at a high level, the confidence of buyers increases dramatically. Collectors know they are getting the real thing with objective quality assessment. That is why certified coins often bring much higher prices than raw ungraded examples. The record-breaking quarter was indeed certified at a top-tier level, which helped justify its extraordinary market value. So what does all this mean for you, the viewer? It means that hidden treasures might be closer than you think. That old change jar in the closet or the coins handed down from a grandparent could potentially contain something rare. While it is unlikely that every household has a $500,000 coin, the possibility of finding a valuable specimen makes the hunt thrilling. Even circulated 1978 quarters in unusually high condition can be worth several dollars to collectors. The more pristine and unique the coin, the higher the price climbs. As we continue exploring this topic, I want you to think about the power of perspective. A 25-cent piece is so ordinary that most people never notice its details. But when you view it through the lens of history, art, and rarity, it transforms into something much greater. The eagle on the reverse suddenly symbolizes the spirit of the nation. The portrait of Washington reminds us of leadership and sacrifice. The year 1978 connects us to a specific moment in American life when disco music ruled the airwaves, when movies like Grease filled theaters, and when gas lines stretched around the block during the energy crisis. All of that context makes the coin more than just money. It becomes a time capsule. Collectors often describe the thrill of the hunt as addictive. Every coin has a story. Some tell the story of mint workers correcting mistakes. Some reveal how certain die varieties slipped into circulation. Some reflect the economic struggles of the period. The 1978 quarter encompasses all of these narratives. It reminds us that treasures are not always gold or diamonds. Sometimes they are humble quarters jingling in our pockets. So in this video we will break down the exact details you should look for if you want to identify a valuable 1978 quarter. We will examine the difference between common and rare varieties. We will show examples of error strikes and discuss how grading works. Most importantly, we will help you understand why the market currently values one of these coins at a jaw-dropping $451,000. Whether you are a casual viewer curious about coin collecting or a seasoned numismatist looking for deeper insights, you will find something here to inspire you. Stay tuned as we journey into the fascinating world of American coinage. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you do not miss any updates. By the end of this episode you will have a new appreciation for the coins you handle every day, and who knows, maybe you will be the next person to discover a life-changing treasure in your own pocket change. Today we are diving into one of the most fascinating and surprising stories in modern American coin collecting. We are talking about the 1990p Washington Liberty Quarter Dollar, a coin that at first glance looks like nothing special, something you could easily find in your pocket change or maybe in the cash register at a local store. But the truth is, this coin carries an amazing story, a hidden history, and in some cases a staggering value that has shocked collectors around the world. Imagine holding in your hand a simple quarter, just 25 cents, and then discovering that the very same type of coin has been valued in the market for well over $300,000. That is right, a single coin with a face value of 25 cents reaching a market value of around $311,000. This is the kind of story that makes numismatics, the hobby of coin collecting, so exciting and so full of possibility. So let us set the stage and welcome you back properly. If you have been following our channel, you know we love exploring the hidden gems of American currency, the forgotten designs, the minting errors, the rare dates and the small details that can turn ordinary-looking coins into treasures worth big money. And if this is your first time tuning in, get ready, because the story of the 1990p Liberty Quarter Dollar is a story that blends history, rarity, collector demand, and pure surprise. Today we are going to talk about how this coin came to be, what makes it special, what its history tells us about the United States mint and coinage at the time, and most importantly why some of these quarters are fetching enormous prices at auctions and in the private market. Now when we mention the 1990p Liberty Quarter Dollar, we are talking about the Washington Quarter series. This is the coin that carries the bust of George Washington on the obverse, the front side, and the familiar American eagle on the reverse. By 1990, this design had already been in use for nearly 60 years. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932, originally intended to commemorate the bicentennial of George Washington's birth. It proved so popular that the design stayed on the coinage for decades, becoming one of the most recognizable pieces of circulating currency in the United States, but by 1990, collectors were not generally looking at this year as anything particularly special. Billions of quarters had been minted throughout the 1980s, and the 1990 issues from the Philadelphia Mint, marked with the letter P just above the date, seemed to be just another part of the huge output of everyday coinage. This is why the story of this coin's later value is so fascinating. Sometimes rarity is not about how many coins are struck in total, but about how many survive in the highest possible quality, or how many display unusual features that attract the attention of experts. The Philadelphia Mint in 1990 produced hundreds of millions of quarters. Most of them went straight into circulation, jingling in pockets, riding around in vending machines, passing from hand to hand. But among those millions, a tiny number were struck with extraordinary precision, ending up in a condition known as mint state or even proof-like, coins that never saw circulation and were preserved carefully by collectors or by sheer luck. When one of those pristine survivors makes its way to an auction, that is when the sparks fly and the value skyrockets. So why would someone pay $311,000 for a coin that looks almost exactly like the one you can still find in change today? The answer lies in condition rarity, grading, and collector demand. Coin grading is a careful process that assigns a numeric score to the quality and preservation of a coin. At the very top of the grading scale are coins that look flawless under magnification, coins that show no signs of wear, no scratches, no bag marks, and have sharp details in every part of the design. These are the coins that can reach unbelievable values when collectors compete for them. The 1990p quarter has become legendary in part because one example, certified at the very highest grade by one of the leading grading services, sold for an astronomical price at auction. That sale brought headlines across the numismatic world and immediately put the 1990p on the radar of every serious collector. While most 1990p quarters in circulation are only worth face value, and even many uncirculated examples may only be worth a few dollars, the possibility that one could hold a top-graded piece worth hundreds of thousands creates a sense of mystery and excitement. Let us step back for a moment and look at the broader history of the quarter. The Washington Quarter design, as mentioned, had been in place since 1932. It went through small changes, with mint marks shifting position and subtle adjustments to the eagle reverse, but for the most part the coin remained steady and familiar. By 1990, the mint was still producing quarters primarily in copper-nickel-clad composition, with a copper core sandwiched between outer layers of nickel. Silver quarters had been phased out of circulation after 1964, so the 1990p is a clad coin, not silver. This makes its high value even more striking, since it is not the intrinsic metal content driving the price, but purely the collector demand and the grading rarity. And here is another interesting detail. The letter P mintmark stands for the Philadelphia Mint. Before 1980, quarters struck at Philadelphia carried no mintmark at all. But starting in 1980, the P began appearing on these coins, just above the date on the obverse. So the 1990 P is part of this later series, clearly marked, and instantly recognizable once you know what to look for. Now if you are wondering whether you might have one of these valuable coins in your own collection or even in your loose change, the answer is complicated. Most 1990p quarters are extremely common. They are still found in circulation, they are often sold in rolls or bags by coin dealers, and they carry no special premium unless they are in top-grade condition. But if you find one that appears uncirculated, with no wear at all, it may be worth setting aside. Having it graded by a professional service could reveal whether you are holding a high-value rarity. The chances are small, but the potential reward is enormous. When news spread that a 1990p quarter had reached over $300,000 at auction, collectors were reminded of the unpredictable nature of the coin market. Sometimes it is the older classic rarities like the 1804 silver dollar or the 1913 Liberty nickel that command massive sums. Other times it is a modern issue like the 1990p quarter, seemingly ordinary, that breaks records because of its unique survival and condition. This keeps the hobby alive with curiosity and possibility. Today the market value of such a coin depends on the grade, the certification, and the demand among advanced collectors. At the very top, as we have mentioned, the value can soar to $311,000. Lower down the scale, nice mint state examples may bring a few dollars, while circulated coins remain at their face value. But the story itself adds value for all of us, teaching us that every coin has a history and every coin has a chance to surprise us. So as we begin this video and dive deeper into the fascinating journey of the 1990p Liberty quarter dollar, let us remember that what we are really exploring is the way history, art, minting technology, economics, and human passion all come together in a small round piece of metal. A quarter is not just 25 cents. It is a piece of American identity, a snapshot of a year in history, and sometimes, as in this case, a key to unexpected fortune. Welcome back once again, and stay tuned as we explore every detail about this extraordinary coin, the stories behind its creation, the reason for its rarity, and the current state of the market that has seen prices climb into the hundreds of thousands. Whether you are a seasoned collector or someone brand new to the world of coins, this is a journey you will not want to miss.